Good evening, everybody. I was just talking with Jim. I had a guy contact me today and say the state of Texas has got an unclaimed amount of money for me. And everything looks official, except the guy that told me about it said he was a college student looking for extra money. But then he didn't send me how to send him the money. So I put up a little flag, but everything he sent me to looks right. Anybody had any experience about finding or having states with unclaimed assets that you find it, you can go get it yourself since it's yours? No. Is it a fraud? That's what I'm trying to find out is yeah, I don't know how far of a scam it is because I realize that you'd be sending them your social security number and your address. Yeah, everything looks official. All right. Walt, that was what I was going through. ClaimItTexas.org. Um, he wasn't claiming it. He was just telling me it was there. And yeah, I've only filled out the forms from the so anyway, I will call them direct tomorrow. I just keep sitting on the phone with a government office. All right. As we can see, we're running out of steam in this market. Yeah, that's right. And today was a reversal day. After trading up, then it reversed and closed back down. Oh, okay, that's got to be you, John. Jim, what do they need to do if they're getting blue in their screen? Okay, yeah, I did the claim at texas.org. That's okay. So now let's try it. Let's change the slide. So you can see the Dow was selling off, and you can see what happened here in the Nasdaq. It gapped down on Friday, but came back up, but couldn't close above the T-line. Today it opened positive and closed back below the T-line. That's not a good sign as far as the longs are concerned. All right, did it change yet, John? Okay. All right, so today, during the day, I usually go through and update the scanning to see what is moving. And it is just another spoke in the wheel that if you can't find a whole lot of good bullish charts, and you're finding a lot better bearish charts. Just the Don, this says all the makings of it was when we would sell Google ads off our website. So it's from Google. I don't know whether to call Google and see if they couldn't find me at one time or call the state. I'll do both. So anyways, this is not a good looking trend indicator as far as the indexes. So right now, the only strength I can see are the ones that have strong chart situations. Where we saw BTBT last week break out, pull back, and now it came back up and hit the first likely target, which was the 200-day moving average. So definitely need to see how this one opens tomorrow. It needs to kind of stay flat and trade positive to stay in it. Okay, thank you, Jim. And our LHDX was also acting well. Kind of that J-hook type pattern breakout with a doji sandwich. So another one where you can just stay long as the strength stays in the stock. But what we're seeing a lot of is, especially in the biggies, here's Apple. There is absolutely no direction. NVIDIA, not very convincing. Amazon got whacked last week. There's nothing to trade on Amazon. Yeah, okay. And what else? Netflix. Just absolutely nothing. So this kind of gives you a suspicion. Usually if there's a investor sentiment trend, you'll see it in the biggies. And right now the biggies are just trading sideways. The only real biggie that was trading well was Tesla, which kind of broke out through this resistance level. Now we've got TEVA on our watch. Whoops. Because it's got the potential of doing a bobble breakout. And it seemed like the electric vehicle sector was picking up steam. Looks like XPEV is broken out through this little downtrend. NIO is trying to pick up some steam today, and I thought LY started out the shoot pretty well today, but then backed off. But it seems to be broken out through this level. I'd still be a buyer of this one if it comes back up through today's open. But Nikola, this is where you use the signals. Look at the bearish kicker signal. Make this bigger. Followed by a doji sandwich. They're still tanking this one. Somebody pointed out, I guess it was Marshall, pointed out CN or CGNT. There's your fry pan bottom, and there's your breakout. That's got more upside potential. Let's see. All right, CAN also has a fry pan bottom. Watch this one to see if they if this breaks through the 50, a good fry pan bottom breakout. SCR, kind of the same scenario. Now you just watch to see if you're buying this one on positive trading. You definitely want to watch to see what happens once it gets to the 50-day moving average. And there's your kind of a little breakout on ON. Now you watch to see if there's a 45 degree that comes off of here. And ARCT had a little gap up today, and it's trading up here somewhere after hours. So that's one to keep an eye on. And the reason I say keep an eye on these is anything that is moving in this lethargic market means there's something going on that's not related to moving with the market trend or the lack of market trend. That is an oxymoron, Ron. That's true. What is this one? UPST. You can see the fry pan bottom break out of the 50 through this level. I mean, that one you definitely want to be looking at tomorrow, depending on how this market opens tomorrow. DOCN, inverted hammer, potential breakout. That thing. IKNX, another kind of wedge type breakout setup. And A8HPI. You can see how this J-hook pattern's been working. It gave back a lot today. So if it opens lower and trades lower, I'd close it out because that tells you they're having a hard time breaking out through that level. And Kingsoft, you want to stay long on this one. Look for the 50 as a potential target. Now, this is all the good ones I came up with, and at least some of those are, you still need to have bullish confirmation. But usually when I do the scans to find the good trades for one of these sessions, I'll have 3 times the amount that we have just gone through. And I have to cultivate them down to see or eliminate some of the so-so ones. So there's some good ones out there, but the numbers are a lot smaller. So here's the obvious ones. Going south, the airlines are all getting hit. Delta, American, where do you think the next likely target's going to be? Right back here. And Southwest Airlines. Wave 1, Wave 2, going into Wave 3. Forget what Alaska Air was doing. Alaska Air is a little bit more compelling. Look at your left-right combo, failure at the 34. And now it's I can't read. No, that is my own handwriting. Who writes this stuff? So that one's got the prospects of coming back down to this level. And JB, if you're in here, your oil stocks are good short setups. There's Matador. There's CPE. Whoops. CPE. If it breaks this level, what do you got going on? Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3, or at least probably the potential of heading back down to the 200. Seeing a lot of the oils right now selling off with good patterns. Failure at the T line, and Murphy oil, you can see exactly where this one reversed. This I put in the category of a blue ice failure, especially with the failure right here at the 50, back below the T line. That makes a potential target down here to the 200. Oh, and here is one that, who, Gary, were you asking about today? Pets needed to stay above the T line. Well, the fact that it closed below the T line, you can see now the odds of going against any long position. This might now be turning into a short position. And here's one thing that you can kind of observe when you've got something that went astronomical and then started selling off. This stock went from 3 to 38. Now you can see what's happening. Nobody's buying it. So this is the type where if you're really aggressive, you can short with safety stops in place. Because once everybody realizes, the enthusiasm's gone, it's not going up, let me get back out of this, and it keeps heading lower. Oh, inverted J-hook? Not really. No, it's just the kind of more of your blue ice or your failure at the 50. So when you're in a downtrend and they come up and they hit a resistance level and show selling, that's usually a good implication that your downtrend investor sentiment is still in progress. And TDS, that's what you're kind of looking for, is when they fail, come back below the T line, that makes the probabilities of them heading lower that much greater. Trox. So if you can see you're in a downtrend and you're sitting right on a support level after failing, this makes it very easy. If this opens lower tomorrow, what's everybody and their brother going to be able to see? That the 200 support level is not acting support, look for your next wave to the downside. And right now on this one, you can pretty much see what your trend channel looks like, which means this would be the magnitude of your move to the downside. Well, for crying out loud. Here's another one that had a good strong run, but anytime you see them gap it down and close near or even below the previous day's open, if they open this lower tomorrow, it's telling you exactly what's happening. They couldn't get through the 200. They're starting to sell it off. That becomes a good short at that point. And BHVN, Shooting Star, bearish engulfing. There's a gap right down here that could be your next likely target. Saki, have you not been sitting here? BT was the first one we did. What was that one? BH. Okay, so E. This is what you want to look for. Nothing confirming yet, but the fact that they tried to take it up, and look how indecisively it tried to trade up. And then get a big bearish engulfing. That's usually the implication they're starting wave 3. And something whacked this one today. So here's the oh, okay, all right, hold on, we're going to go right back then. BT. Anytime somebody pays for a lifetime membership, well, this one came out of the J-hook pattern, hit the 200. As soon as it hits the 200, and here's one thing that everybody should always keep in mind. If they stretch to get to a resistance level, even though you're not in the overbought area yet, that means everybody's watching to see what happens once it gets up here. That's where you go to your 10-minute chart. When it hits up there and starts backing off, take profits. Let me see where this started. Oh, this started that's the problem. We're on the 5-minute chart. No wonder I couldn't recognize. So when it goes up, heads up, and then touches the 200-day moving average and starts selling off, you can consider taking profits. So once it started back up, you could always buy it back. But it's one thing that I have learned trading, if you have a strong up move, when you see the first sell signal confirmed, take profits. Because all that's telling you is, after this strong move, this is where the bulls and the bears have now run into each other and changing the uptrend. Worst case scenario is you can always buy it back if it starts coming back up. And, whoops, on the wrong chart. Okay. I don't know who owes me $60.29. No, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, left-right combo on Freeport. Which direction is this chart moving? You can see it's in a downward drift. When they popped it back up and they failed up here, where do you think the next target's going to be after a bearish left-right combo? Right at a level everybody's watching. Oh, a State Farm premium refund. Okay. I don't even think I have State Farm. Oh, anyways, that one's got a good target now back down at this level. So when the markets are getting a little bit drifty, meaning it's running into problems. That's not what I wanted to do. You can see it was kind of hitting a resistance level up here. That's thank you, Jim. I'll buy you dinner next time I see you. Oh, wait a minute. That'll be, there goes my whole $60.29. So the implication is stochastics rolling over. They hit a resistance level a few times, and when they take it up and then fail, that failure is a pretty good indication that the bulls have now given up the ghost, start looking for some short trades. So with that, I guess that's about all I got tonight. Are there any general questions on candlesticks? So the few that are working, BTBT, but it has to open positive tomorrow and head back up toward the 200. If it opens lower and starts trading lower, close it out immediately, because that means when they hit the target, they're starting to sell off. And this one's been acting well, this little LHD DX, ever since it broke out. Can you clarify if a left-right combo is always a doji followed by an engulfing signal? How do I clarify that? Yes. Which one were we just looking at? Oh, Freeport. Anytime you see, first of all, anytime you see a bearish engulfing signal in the overbought condition, that's a good signal. It's even more relevant when you see a bearish engulfing after a doji. So just kind of think of what that whole setup means. Indecision right here on the 50, and then a strong sell signal. If I had been long Freeport today, I would have closed it out. You don't need to have confirmation because the probabilities of this trading lower is extremely high. Sake, yes. But you're going to see pretty much, I mean, if it opens right here and then immediately starts trading up, yeah, you hang on to it. What you want to see is it opening up here. Now, if it opens positive and starts trading positive, you just put a stop at today's open. If it opens here, let me make this bigger. Say it opened down here and started trading positive, you put your stop at the open, because logic says if they open and take it up and then come back down through the open, it's over. Sava, was that earnings on Thursday? Here is a perfect example of why when you get up in the overbought area, you put a safety stop at a place where it shouldn't be trading. There was 100% dark pool options. I don't know what a dark pool is other than my swimming pool when the darn chlorine doesn't seem to be working. So Sava, yeah, the bigger this signal, the more compelling that there's been a change of investor sentiment. So somebody was asking today, is it time to buy it back? And the answer is no. First of all, just because it was trading up, that could be a bounce, number one. Number two, you're still heading down in your stochastics. And three, or I guess number one should be the fact that you have this huge selling. You're going to need something dramatic to show you that that there's a change of investor sentiment. It's starting to head back up again. Too early to get in, John. That's telling you when it opens positive and then trades off, that should be an immediate warning, not immediate warning, but an obvious warning as a candlestick investor that the buying isn't all that severely great. Now, where would I buy this one? If they brought it back up through today's open, that would tell me this is profit taking. You're still heading higher. So just because something opens positive, maybe Sava was an example of that. Just because it opens positive doesn't mean it's a buy. You want to see what it does after that initial open. And so if I see something gap up, especially in an area where it's telling us we're getting toward the overbought area, even if it's down here somewhere in the oversold area, I want to see bullish strength come in. Whoops, I didn't scroll down fast enough. Yeah, this one looks good. You can see the best friend signal, the breakout. So you can still be buying this one. Rick, what's a dark pool options? Is there a determining factor as to whether you should sell a long position if it trades below the T line versus if it closes below the T line? Yes. And we're going to be doing a session because of that type of question, John, which is what a lot of people ask, is how do you know when to, if it trades below the T line, close it out versus closing below the T line? And the answer is, here's another case right here. Let's see if we can make this big enough where we can see how this came up, but traded below, I'd say it came up. It traded below the T line and then came back up. And what was the reason for kind of holding on to that, waiting to see what it was going to do? Because look at your stochastics. It's still heading up. Now, what's the difference between that day and this day? Well, this day you can see there was no buying that brought it back up above the T line. And if you were that close to the T line and it closed it below, I closed it out. Dark pool is off the market. All right. Saki, yes, very simple scans. We'll do a scanning session. Yeah, that could. Yeah, so that Ray, thank you for that. And Rick, a dark pool trade is not anything that's detrimental. Let's say you're an institution and you're coming in and trying to buy 650,000 shares of a stock, but you want protection, which is the options. But there's no way out there that you could go and find 650, 100, I guess, options all at one time. So they'll go to different institutions and say, XYZ institution wants to buy and they want to hedge. Do you want to take the opposite side of that? So it's not like it's anything devious. It's just people trying to, or institutions trying to protect their positions. Something happened there. Yeah, first of all, you go back and you see what happened to make this big move, which I'm guessing was earnings. And then you kind of assume that you're in an uptrend as long as you're above the T-line on square. And QuantumScape tried to come up today, still in the basing mode. Okay, so I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.6 seconds, do the next double line. All right. We did can. Fry pan bottom, watching to see if they can get this up through the fix 50. I saw Moxie was holding up well today. Another one you could possibly buy if it trades positive number one, and if the market's not showing strong selling. Now, obviously, one's going to kind of affect the other, or no, the market's going to affect. But if the market's selling off hard, you might not see a lot of bullish sentiment. If the market's selling off hard and you still see bullish sentiment, I mean something else is going on that's not being affected by the market trend in general. This one you can get ready to buy. Observe the obvious. Look where they brought this back to for support. Right back to the T-line. And that's important because nobody has the T-line on their chart. And when they come back to that natural support level, if they open this positive tomorrow, you've got a fry pan bottom coming out or breaking out after showing support at the T-line with a doji sandwich, a good trade setup. The 20-year notes are still trading positive. You stay long, which basically tells us the interest rates aren't really going anywhere right now. Here's Wolf. You can get ready to short this one on weakness. Space. I wouldn't be long or short. Even though it showed positive trading today, there's nothing to tell you there's any great trend right now in this one. Affirm, that's a toughie too. That's, I mean, you can see how it's whipsawing, and it's really not going anywhere. I probably wouldn't be long or short because it's just not a chart that you can really sink your teeth into. U.S. Steel. When they break through a resistance level, they usually come back to test it to see if it's going to act as support. I imagine that's what it's doing. So if you are long and you didn't close it today, because that would have been a good safety stop while you're up here in the overbought area, if it came back down through that level, the anticipation was it was coming back to test the 50 and the T-line. Myrna, you stay long as it stays above the T-line. You might be seeing a little bit of profit taking. ENPH, same scenario. Needs to stay above the T-line. Shopify. Nothing there yet. Another one I probably wouldn't be long or short right now until you see something strong bringing it back up above the T-line with good confirmation of your left-right combo. The Russell, you can see is really not going anywhere. Basically looks the same as the NASDAQ. Really not going anywhere. Net, It's telling you what to do with the doji. If they open this lower, I'd start closing it out. And again, this would probably be a function of what the market in general is doing tomorrow. It definitely, you want to see it open positive and trade positive to tell you the T-line's still acting as support. Labu, nothing there. It would be a toughie to have stayed short, but you can still go short on weakness on this one. Schlumberger, another one you can go short on weakness tomorrow. Halliburton, same scenario. Square acquired a payment service, etc. company. All right. Do you know what the name of it was, VG? Because I was looking at one the other day that acted strong. I'm thinking, why would that be acting strong? Maybe, and that goes back to the classification of I don't need to try to figure out why a stock is acting strong or whether it should be acting strong. I should let the chart tell me what it's doing. NRGD. That's kind of your booster reversal. You can buy this one on positive trading. Don't let it close back below the T-line. And Etsy, nothing here. We were going to short this one today, had it opened lower and traded lower. Right now, it's kind of a nothing chart. 3D. You stay long. Another one where if the market started trading weaker tomorrow and this started backing off, you can see it's not going up with any great persistence. If it started trading lower, I'd probably close it out and get ready to buy it back if that babbling was not showing a lot of strength right now. And Kodak, nothing there to get real. Small fry pan bottom, but in this market, it's not showing anything real convincing just yet. And drip. Gotta make this bigger. Drip's got, is this the bearish? Yeah. So that one you could be buying. Oops, spam. Spam. Well, I guess he didn't like being called spam. So this one you could be buying. You can see the J-hook pattern or the classic pattern. There's your fry pan bottom, J-hook setup. Avocado. Nothing greatly exciting on this one. It's just in a very slow uptrend, and that's about all you can say for it. So if you're long on this one, you just stay long. I wouldn't necessarily be buying this one. So you're starting to turn down. Notice where you kind of ran into a failure. I would definitely have a safety stop at the T-line. QuantumScape, it's basing. It looked like it was trying to break out. Nothing there yet. However, here's kind of the usual situation. Notice that this is not a buy signal. This was just buying. Now they've pulled it back. Now if you see a buy signal, meaning let's say a bullish confirmation of the doji off the T-line, now you can add all that together. It was buying, consolidation, but the real buying came in after the signal. TBIO. TBIO gapped up from 29.15. It did. Let's take a quick look here. It did. Trading at 50.35, 50.49. Well, it's a good thing it didn't execute the short today. Was there, Jimmy, I'm guessing there was news. Afterpay, all right. What was the symbol on Afterpay? Oh, APT? Oh, that's what somebody was saying today, that it was the Australian APT. Well. That may have been why this sold off, because if people were thinking this was the one and it wasn't, that's why they're selling it. And Micron, notice where it touched today, right there at the 50 and sold off. AMD still moving up nicely ever since it broke out through this level. All right. Wow, we're done early tonight, which I suspected we would be, because there's just not a whole heck of a lot out there to go after. When the markets are looking like this, whoops, I didn't scroll down, did I? No, I didn't. We do have more, all right. JP Morgan, not anything there. It probably wouldn't be long or short. As a matter of fact, I'd probably be thinking about going short on weakness. Will, I was more going after Ford for the long term right in this area. I think even lower. I think started buying some at 9. But that's just a basis of what's the weekly chart looking like, and then even going to what does the monthly chart look like. So, and I will, I don't have any real sophisticated method yet for deciding when you go after, that's the wrong charts, when you go after a long term. And the longer the term of a chart or your positioning, the more you kind of combine the technical aspects of why people are buying, and or seeing that people are buying, and then going back and finding out why they're buying. So QuantumScape is more of knowing more information than we should, based upon the potential of the product they're making, which is the solid-state lithium battery. Oh. Did I miss one? I must have missed one. Huh. There was a lithium battery company that I found today that was doing well, and now I can't remember what it was, and I didn't write it down. That's goofy. But anyways, back to your answer or question, Will. Yeah, if I've found out why this has been bought in the past, I'll do it like this. Where this stock ran from 25 to 125, that caused a reason to see why it was running like that, and then which is the lithium battery. So I trade mostly, obviously, swing trading, but when you find something that is moving and you go back and research why it's moving, that gives you a little bit more perspective of whether you want to hold it long term or not. DJ, yes, the electronic vehicle sector was, now, what's happened to Fisker? That one's not doing much. What happened to this one? Anybody know? Oops. Is this, oh, pshaw. Oh. Thought this one had something to do with the electric vehicle sector. Oh, I don't know whether I'm going to get that one over here, Gary. No. AF. Okay. Oh, yeah, at 50? Okay, well, maybe it is being bought out. And Myra held up reasonably well. And Riot, same thing. They were trading positive at the close near the lower end of the day. So if either one of these open lower tomorrow, I'd probably close them out because that means there's nothing going on with them after that. BZ. Valero, nothing wildly exciting. It needs to break through this level, and you can see it's not doing it with any great power, but it still has the best friend signal, double bottom. So I'd be ready to buy this on strength. I just want to make sure it gets through this level. Toll Brothers, to close, no, not really. Now you do have the element of once it broke through the resistance level, it could come back and test it. So maybe you put a safety stop at today's low. If it comes back through there, it's coming back to test the 50, which in the next day or so, that's also the T-line area. Ray, yeah, that's a question that you don't have to ask yourself. What we think, and I say we, each of us individually think, doesn't mean a hill of beans. There's been so many times I'm looking at a chart and thinking, all right, this one's acting great and it should be doing great, and it does this. I've got to say, it's not because everybody else is not as smart as I am, because what I was thinking it was going higher and they're selling it off. I have to go back to reality and say, everybody else is selling this off, even though I think it should be going higher. Wheat had a very strong move today. Broke out nicely. Whoops, I don't know why I did that. You can see how wheat was up. I think it was up 25 cents today. Now, the other grains are not doing anything. You can see soybeans. That's just sideways. And corn, that's a nothing chart too. So the only one that's working is wheat. That was it. Thank you, Mike. It doesn't matter what Saki, what I think should be happening. It's what the market thinks should be happening. I'm trying to think of one of the big contractors. You'd think U.S. Steel would be acting a little bit better. So this one, lithium, is working reasonably well. This was the one I was looking for, a Standard Lithium. Now, I don't know whether that is right. No, it's got a lot bigger chart. I don't know, did they change the name or something recently? So there's the chart on Standard Lithium. I don't know why it's only doing this today. DJ, I don't think so. I don't think you would get Volkswagen, I think George Soros, Bill Gates, all putting in hundreds of millions of dollars if there wasn't something to the product of QuantumScape. So that announcement on that day was that they had another little breakthrough of improving their 10-layer solid-state battery. And it's like all the other lithium battery companies, solid-state, that always say they're getting close, but at least Quantum puts out the information of what they're doing, so it's not like it's all hidden. SOI, I don't know, Jay. All right, a few more. Boeing, you can see once it hit the 50, it's backed off. I would suspect they're coming back down to the 200, and Apple just not going anywhere. Wouldn't be long or short. Dale, that could, or Don, that could be the case. Rick, no, I don't look for insider buying. I don't look for percentage of held by institutions. All I look at is price. Price tells you what everybody's doing. Yeah, that's true too, GM. But that was based upon their equipment. The GM or the Nikola trucks, wasn't it? Which turned out to be kind of a scam or a false information, where Quantum basically is a research company. Okay, whoops, didn't. Yeah, right now, Nikola has the at least the dark cloud hanging over its head that they were found out to be doing fraudulent results or results. With candles being fractal, do you wait for the candle sell signals on longer-term charts, weekly or monthly, before selling? That depends for your long-term holdings. Yes. That if you're holding something based upon try to think of something to and so you have the same thing that you can be analyzing on the basis of look how far this was trading compared to the T-line on the monthly chart. And then you had your big bearish engulfing on the weekly chart. So that would kind of tell me that if I had been long Sava for a long-term hold, that this was probably the death knell or the tell me to get out of this trade. This right here would have said, up, there's something major going on. Let's see what's happening. How long did Enron, WorldCom, and Bernie hold on? I don't know about Enron, but I was consulting for Enron. Oh, I can't even remember then. Shoot, I can't remember what I was. About a year before they started to crater. But the stock was selling off, and I had a lot of people in the, I mean, it was a big trading room. There was probably a few hundred people in the trading room, and a lot of people would come back to look at my charts to see, should we be buying some more Enron stock? And I kept saying, no, not right now. So I think I probably saved a lot of, or quite a few people's bacon. On Enron. No, my contract ended about 6 or 9 months before everything started hitting the fan. Oh boy, on XBOI, you could buy on positive trading. This was kind of a, am I on the, still on the daily? Yes. That took a lot of wind out of the sails. I would want to, if I was buying on positive trading tomorrow, I would definitely set my stop back at today's close, because if they take it up and bring it back down, that means the buyers aren't there. Okay. This was not good for the bulls today. When they take it up and then they reverse it and close below the T-line, you can see where the force is starting. So be ready to look at some shorts tomorrow. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.